Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Clear the Air, the podcast. First of all, I can't believe that this is technically the 5th episode, which means I've been doing this for 5 weeks now. It's really crazy how much positive feedback I'm getting on it, how much support I'm receiving from my friends, family, and others who don't even know me. So thank you so much for all that support and for tuning in. I really hope that I can achieve my goals with the podcast soon, and I think based on the support I'm getting that those goals are very achievable in the near future. A quick update about me. I'm back in Waterloo at the time that this episode is released. I'm recording this in advance, so I'm still at home. I just know that getting back to Waterloo, moving in, school starts on the 6th, so I know it'd be pretty hectic and I may not get the episode out in time, so I wanted to make sure that this was done in advance. So I'll be starting the winter term, which is my 3A term, and I'm very excited. Honestly, I love school so much, and I love co-op as well. I love learning, I love earning money for working, but I really love being in school. I love studying and all that, and I'm just excited to see all my friends and all my professors again. So that's exciting. On another note, I would like to share an event with you that's happening in April that I'm actually playing a big part in now. It's called the Canadian Sustainability Conference. It's happening in Toronto from April 7th to April 8th, and there's this really exciting youth engagement opportunity. So I'm actually the director of this. I'm the youth engagement lead, and I am coordinating all of the youth engagement activities and programming that's going on at the conference. So we are looking for passionate, sustainably minded youth delegates to attend the conference. This conference is about sustainability, particularly in the cleaning and infection sectors. And we really want to engage youth, not just in these sectors more, but just in sustainable business decisions in general. So by engaging youth, we want to learn what youth are most passionate about, how they think they can be engaged in business decisions, and we just want collaboration between the business and youth more. So if you are between the ages of 15 to 25 and you are interested in attending this conference, that will give you a full 2-day pass to the conference, accommodations if needed. We can work on finding you travel grants if you're coming from out of the area, and the opportunity to network and connect with sustainability experts, chances to see amazing keynote speakers, and the opportunity to get inspired and fuel your passions and share your projects with the world. So if you're interested in applying for the youth delegate position, I will link the application form in the show notes. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me because, as I said, I am the one directing and coordinating this, so I can happily answer any questions you may have. On to the topic of today, which is 3 sustainable swaps you can make for this new year. So New Year's just happened. It's now 2020, which is crazy to think about. New decade, new start. And I have heard a lot of people are interested in living a more sustainable lifestyle starting this year. That is an amazing goal to have, and I am so happy to hear so many people are interested in this. But I know that especially if you're just starting on your sustainability journey, which I have talked about in episode 1 of the podcast, starting your sustainability journey, it can be pretty intimidating, especially if you've never engaged in sustainability activities before, or like I said in episode 3, if you are in an environment where you don't feel supported in your sustainability activities. Maybe no one has taken these actions before, or your community is not really oriented to sustainable, eco-friendly activities. These actions can seem intimidating and you just don't know where to start. So I wanted to give you 3 ways that you can create sustainable living habits right now. They are easy, they are inexpensive, they are quick to do, and you might be doing some of them already. You can use these 3 ways of creating sustainability in your life as a gateway to living a more sustainable lifestyle, so you can use them as the foundations for building more sustainability into your life. This past Sunday, I also released a blog post with this information, so if you are more of a reading person, you like getting your information through reading, make sure to check out that post, and it also has some of the information more in depth and links to other resources to incorporate sustainability into your life. So make sure to check that out. I will link that in the show notes if you do want to check that blog post out, which I highly recommend. With that, let's get into my 3 ways for building sustainability into your lifestyle in the new year. The first way you can incorporate sustainability into your life starting in 2020 is probably quite obvious, and that is ditch the plastic water bottles. Water bottles are not a necessary item in today's day and age. Thankfully, for those of us living in North America, water is pretty safe to drink. I know that's not the case everywhere, unfortunately, but for those of us in urban centers, those of us who have grown up drinking tap water safely at restaurants and our schools, you don't need a plastic water bottle. You don't need to be drinking multiple plastic water bottles every day. It may seem convenient, and it may seem more convenient than carrying around a reusable water bottle, but having used my own reusable water bottle my whole life pretty much, and ditching plastic water bottles completely when I started university 3 years ago, I found that a reusable water bottle is more convenient than a plastic water bottle, much more stylish, it can express yourself more, and they're way more durable and safer, especially if you're not using one made of plastic, because there's all this talk about microplastics and BPA in your water bottles, which I do talk about in another blog post that I can link below. And they're just not necessary. Again, if you are living in another part of the world where you don't have access to fresh water, safe drinking water, I know that water bottles are used a lot in humanitarian aid, which I understand. Hopefully in the future we can get to a point where that is not needed and there is fresh water available. But for those of us who do have privy to clean drinking water all the time, you can use a reusable water bottle and fill it up. You can buy a piece of charcoal at many stores, such as bulk stores. Zero Waste Bulk in Waterloo, for instance, carries these to help filter your water. If you do like that, or if you do want that and you don't like the taste of tap water, you can get a Brita filter or some similar device that also filters your water using charcoal to make sure it is extra clean and it removes anything that could be potentially in your taps. And there's really no danger behind drinking water from the tap with using a reusable water bottle. This connects to using other single-use plastic items like cutlery, takeout containers, things that really aren't necessary, but we just find them to be more convenient. And usually we find these things more convenient if we haven't tried out the other items for a long-term basis and realize that making this transition over to a reusable item is much more sustainable, more economic in the long run, because you're not going out and buying these items all the time, and it is convenient. So give that a try if you haven't already. It's a great starting base. Say to yourself, this year I'm not going to use any plastic water bottles. And that's a massive change, because if you cut down one water bottle every day, that's 365 water bottles that won't end up in a landfill, that may end up in our oceans, and that's a massive change. So try that out if you are using plastic water bottles or plastic cutlery or any other single-use plastic right now. The second tip, and something that I talk about a lot on the blog, is transitioning to a more plant-based lifestyle. This doesn't mean you need to become full vegetarian or full vegan. It can just mean maybe you eat one more meal every week that's plant-based. I don't think a lot of people realize that the meals we eat now are quite often plant-based, or they have a plant-based component to it. For instance, if you eat a grilled cheese, that's technically vegetarian. If you're eating eggs, they're vegetarian. So if you have your breakfast at the local diner and you're ordering, the breakfast potatoes, your eggs, your toast, whatever else comes with it, I don't really go out for breakfast that much, that is vegetarian. You can cut out the bacon or whatever other meat product might be included. You can get vegetarian versions if you like those, and there are some that taste just like meat. It's kind of crazy. But there are plenty of benefits with going towards a more plant-based lifestyle. You're promoting animal rights by doing it, because you are not supporting unjust animal slaughter practices or animal husbandry practices. Animal farming uses up much more land than regular crops do. It uses a heck of a lot of water, for sure. The amount of emissions released from methane, which comes from the manure of cows and other animals, is more potent than carbon dioxide, which means it lasts in the atmosphere. And not only are you promoting animal rights and environmental protection by switching to a more plant-based lifestyle, but you are saving money. You're not buying crazy expensive meat products anymore. You can get the same amount of protein from beans or tofu or these other really cheap items by switching over to a plant-based lifestyle or eating more plant-based. And you might feel a lot better. You might feel more healthy by doing it. Again, there are items like fries and other really heavy, really greasy items that are technically vegetarian, and you can still eat them for sure. But if you want to live more healthy and you wanted to do it through a plant-based lifestyle, try incorporating more whole foods, so grains, vegetables, things that come from the earth. Having lived a plant-based lifestyle for 3 years now, I love it. It was challenging at first, I will not lie, but as you practice it and as you get used to it, it becomes so much easier and it's second nature, and I don't crave meat anymore. I don't see any need to eat meat because I'm getting all I need from my vegetarian diet. I have written blog posts about becoming vegetarian and what you need to know. I am currently revising those, and they will actually be released next week and the week after in a 2-part series. So make sure you stay tuned for those, because I will share all the information you need to know before going plant-based, including what vitamins to look out for, what the benefits are of going plant-based, and some ideas for incorporating more plant-based living habits into your everyday life. The final tip that I have for incorporating more sustainability into your life in 2020 is thrift shop. Buy things secondhand. Stop buying fast fashion. So just recycling and reusing clothing products instead of going out and buying brand new ones all the time. I read a news article recently that said people today are buying things secondhand more than they are buying things fresh from the store from these fast fashion industries, which is so exciting to see. People are really engaged and interested in not only this trend that's happening right now, but this sustainability movement. It's cheaper for you, of course. You can buy, I found a designer sweater that was hand knit that would have cost, I looked it up after, it cost about $200 at full price in the store. I got it for $5 at the local thrift shop, and I've had that sweater for about 2 years now, and it's one of my favorite sweaters. So you're saving a lot of money by buying things secondhand. You are reducing the amount of clothing that goes to landfill, because believe it or not, in many cases, thrift stores and other donation centers, they can't sell the clothes that you give them if they're over capacity. They can't donate them if they're not good quality, or other shady business that sometimes goes behind thrift stores, and you can read up about those all over the internet. And a lot of clothes will go to other parts of the world to either A, be burned or end up in landfill. So buying from these thrift stores, you are reducing the amount of clothes that will end up in the landfill, and you are allowing more clothes to come through that system. And then lastly, you are cutting down on the environmental impact of living and wearing clothes, because you are not going out and buying these clothes that use a lot of water, dye, create emissions when they travel and when they're produced. You're cutting down on that by using clothes that have already gone through that process, instead of making extra or using double the resources and double the energy and double the travel to create that exact same item when there's a perfectly good one lying out there. So you are cutting down on that just by using an item that's already been loved and worn before. Also, thrifting is just fun because you can find really unique items in stores that could have been trendy 20 years ago or so, because we are finding now that trends are coming back. There's items that were around in the 80s and 90s that are becoming really popular again. So those items you can find in thrift stores if they haven't been snatched already. And it's just fun to express yourself in a way that no one else can, because thrift stores usually only have one of each item, and so you can find something that really reflects your personality that no one else has, which is one of my favorite things about thrifting. And I would say that half of my clothes are thrifted, and in the past year alone, probably 80 to 90, well, maybe in the last 2 years, because I don't shop for clothes that much, 80 to 90% of the clothes that I own are thrifted that I have purchased in the past 1 to 2 years. So it's a great way to save money, protect the planet, protect people who would be working in these sweatshops in unlivable, unsuitable conditions, and just reflect your style in a unique way. Those are my 3 tips for incorporating sustainability into your life starting right now in 2020. You can use these as a starting base, like I said at the beginning. So if you don't know where to start with your sustainability journey, try with one of these 3 ways that I've mentioned. Cut out single-use plastics in your life. Eat more plant-based. Thrift more, and thrift your items next time you need to buy a sweater or buy a costume or whatever it may be. Build from those. When it comes to using single-use plastics for food, think about cutting out plastic bags at the grocery store or using beeswax wraps or buying beauty products that come in recyclable containers that you can bring back to the store, or even try making your own container, or even try making your own products in reusable jars or containers, things like that. You can build off of these ideas to incorporate more and more sustainability in your life. While I support you in your efforts, try not to overwhelm yourself. Don't say, I'm going to do all of this at once, especially if you are new to the sustainability world, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. And if you face one bump in the road, one failure, you don't want to dissuade yourself and say, I can't do it. Instead, start small. Start with one action every day and build off of that, because every day you are successful, you will feel good and you will want to keep going and you can keep building. It's much easier to succeed and build up rather than start big, fail, and keep falling down. It's much more productive that way as well. So those are my 3 ways that you can incorporate sustainability into your life right now. They save money, they save time, and they save the planet. I'm curious to know, what are you doing in 2020 to make your life more sustainable? What are your goals? How are you going to achieve those goals? Let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to write a review and rate the podcast if you haven't already done so. And please share it with your friends and family. By sharing it with people that you know and care about, you are helping create a more sustainable world for all of us living, because it takes the actions of everyone every single day to create a prosperous future, to create hope for our future. So the more people that are taking action and know how to take action by listening to the podcast or reading the blog, the more hopeful our future will be for all of us. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time.